Should we head up to Canada now?
All right.
Let's head up to Canada now, where here's a live look this morning on the streets of Canada, Ottawa, and where the Freedom Convoy continues to roll along. And, we heard from Parliament yesterday. So Justin Trudeau is still continuing to double down on his move to, get rid of the truckers, go under mandates, make sure that you're getting vaccinated, open up this blockade. And members of Parliament, even among his own party, are speaking out. The Liberal Party, by the way, speaking out, saying, this prime minister is to blame for this. Listen.
One person is responsible for this mess, and that's the Prime Minister. That's right. He caused this mess by attacking Canadian citizens and taking away their freedoms. The rest of the world is moving on. Other countries all around the world are lifting restrictions. Provinces across the country are doing exactly the same, but we've got this holdup. The Prime Minister is hunkering down, and out of spite and personal pride, refusing to lift these unjustified and unscientific restrictions. If he would only do so, then the truckers could get back to work and the other protesters could go back to their lives and everything in Canada would get back up on its feet and we could get back to working on giving people control of their lives.
So that is the Conservative MP there. And then, you had Candice Bergen on the other side saying the same thing, really. So you get members of his own party speaking out against. This was Candice Bergen speaking about this. Listen.
The interim leader of the Conservative Party agreed.
We have a Prime Minister who refuses to lead and instead is being divisive. I have to agree with the MP for Louis Hebert when he says people don't know where public health ends and politics begins. Canadians want their lives back.
Yeah. And it's interesting now at a time when vaccine mandates and mask mandates and social restrictions are being lifted around the U.S. And in other countries. Is this really the time to double down and say, I refuse to discuss it, right? Most politicians are discussing lifting mandates and COVID restrictions because of the numbers, right? Mm-hmm. Because of the fact that the Omicron variant is less virulent. We hear even Dr. Fauci this week saying we maybe are out of the throes of the pandemic. It's going to continue on, but this is no longer like, oh my God, the end of the world type scenario. So why can't we discuss it, right? It does seem like it's more about him saving face than actually governing, right? When he has kept this reputation as the people's prime minister for years and years now, this is not the reputation. This is not consistent with the brand he has, is that he represents everybody. He's for everybody. Clearly he's not. Now there are copycat revolutions being planned in France. In fact, in Paris, the police are issuing no protest orders for this weekend, starting tomorrow all the way through the weekend, because Prime Minister Macron has said, we'd like to piss off the unvaccinated. Well, he succeeded, and the unvaccinated there say, this looks like a pretty good thing to do, Canada. We're going to try that too. So now we're watching for protests there. In the United States, there are protests planned for early March. They may or may not be needed at that point because we see the restrictions being rolled back. But organizers learned their lesson when GoFundMe funds were held up and frozen for the Canadian truckers. So now they're using a site called Give, Send, Go. Already they've raised $7.2 million.
I mean, look how cold it is in Ottawa right now, too.
I mean, you got to want it. If you're going to protest there, yeah.
And, it's really interesting. And if you look at, this is as we walk through the streets of Ottawa this morning, and then look here is the border crossing in Ottawa. And there's just nothing coming across. I mean, there's nothing coming across. And already Ford is having to make some moves away from their Canadian auto parts manufacturing. So this is already starting to hit some of the bigger businesses, certainly the Detroit auto industry. But this is the border crossing. I don't know if you've ever been across this bridge, if you've ever been in this area here, but it's never this empty. I've been there. You go through, it's backed up. You have to show, you go through the whole border crossing. You have to show your ID. You have to, the whole thing. Look at it.
Is Ottawa north of Michigan, or where is Ottawa?
Just north of Detroit, right? It's
Detroit. Okay.
Right
yeah,
over
that's the one I've been over.
Right over the Ambassador Bridge there.
We used to go up there to get liquor
Yeah.
Because their drinking age is lower?
because it was cheaper.
Oh, interesting.
But yeah, I mean, you look at these. I mean, look at Hawaii. Like Hawaii is now not going to require tourists to be boosted to visit. So lists across the country right now. There's mandates being lifted as a result of this.
Does that mean that you still have to be vaccinated, just not boosted?
Yes, vaccinated. I don't know if you have to be vaccinated to visit, but they're going to want to see either. They're going to want to see your whatever
recent
your COVID,
negative test,
your recent
or a
negative
vaccine
test. But a lot of those are now being removed. Like even like, I mean, we're seeing even like removing like negative tests. Yeah, all of that is now in a lot of different places are being removed.
Yes. In France, the vaccine passport was mandating anybody to have a vaccine to go into any indoor places. And now France is saying we will lift this in late March or early April. So no more showing your QR code to get in. So, I mean, what was it worth to piss off the unvaccinated for a span of 4 months and then lose those voters, I guess?
Right.
I mean, we can sort of say politicians had our best interests at heart. They thought at the time the vaccine would stop the spread. And then Omicron came and showed us who's boss and showed that vaccinated and unvaccinated people could get COVID and that the vaccine does not stop the spread of COVID. I don't know. It's up to us to decide what the intentions are. But now that we have the science, it's time to decide, are you really going to dig your heels in and assert your power to make laws that are inconvenient for people, or are you going to listen to the science and help your economy to recover?
If you like this content, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Also, we have a membership program. For the price of a cup of coffee once a month, you can support independent journalism just by going to morninginvest.com/join.
You get access to exclusive videos, plus the ability to join and chat with us live. We really appreciate your subscription, and you are supporting independent journalism.